So you won't need much room. You'll need leg length, but nothing overhead. We won't be extending the arms overhead today, unless you want to stretch out for a moment. But let's go ahead and lie down on the backs and take a moment to just settle in. Settle into your space, your patch of sun, your mat, your breathing, your length and your width. The contact right side and left side. You can listen to all the joints in your legs, the space between the knees, your pelvis, your hips, the chest, and all along the spine from the tailbone through the back of the pelvis and the lower back, up between the shoulder blades and up to the neck. And then especially listen to your shoulder blades so that we can notice any differences that might happen due to what we do today. And now please interlace your hands, clasp your hands, interlace the fingers. Notice which finger and thumb are on top, your habitual one. And place your hands above you on the floor. I lied, you do need a little bit of space overhead, but only 4 inches. Only 4 inches. Approximately 4 inches, the thumbs will lie on the floor overhead, above the head, not behind the head. Your elbows may or may not be on the floor, doesn't matter. Just rest your thumbs as best you can on the floor so the arms are kind of encircling the head. Now place your right foot standing and begin to play around with pushing the foot into the floor and raising the right side of the pelvis, meaning rolling it, meaning that it will roll to the left a bit, but keep the knee stable. So the knee doesn't lean. It might move forward, but the pelvis rolls to the left. Pelvis rolls to the left. Do this several times. So your left leg might roll on the floor. And now pay attention to which trajectory the force is taking. So notice if your knee is leaning, then correct that and only roll the pelvis as far as you can without the knee leaning. And think of the force going up through the spine. Think of this pushing foot going up through your spine and making you taller, making you a little taller on the floor. So it's not really lifting the pelvis up, it's rolling and the pressure pushing into the left side of the pelvis and up along the back. And notice where you feel, or do you feel anything happening in your left arm? Because what we're searching for is that this pushing foot actually makes the left elbow move away from you. It makes this pushing right foot and the rolling pelvis makes your left elbow get longer, with the hands encircling the head overhead. So how might you discover a way to feel your humerus bone being pushed a little longer on the floor? And really you're passing over You're passing over the shoulder blade. You have to pass over the left shoulder blade. And notice if your head responds or not. Don't change anything, just notice what you're doing, how you're doing it. And let's take a little rest and investigate this on the other side. Notice if just after these few movements anything has changed with your back on the floor, your left shoulder blade or your right. Does one shoulder blade fit better on the floor? It may have fit better before, maybe it fits even better. And so now clasp your hands with the non-habitual interlacing of the fingers, which means the other index finger will be on the top, and bring your arms to encircle your head with the thumbs on the floor and the palms of your hands looking at the top of your head. And stand your left leg. Stand your left foot on the floor and just begin to investigate. Push the floor and think of growing taller first. Think that the moment you start pushing, that you grow taller through the spine, and then the left side of the pelvis, the left hip joint, comes away from the floor as you lean your weight into, you stand on the left foot, and you start to roll, and the pressure of the body goes towards the right shoulder blade. The right side of the pelvis stays on the floor. The right side of the pelvis stays on the floor. And you might, on this side, try moving the left leg wider. Move it further away from the midline so that you can find, you can try this, but he does say to spread the legs relatively wide. And then seeing if widening the leg helps you find a trajectory of force that goes from the left foot through the right shoulder blade and into the right elbow and pushes the humerus bone along the floor. Think of the joints, think of the bones, think of the length of the left thigh, the length of the spine, the length of the right humerus bone, which is your upper arm, that goes from your shoulder joint to your elbow. And search around with your foot, and maybe you found the perfect place. Now, is your head turning or not? Can you allow this movement can you allow your head to roll to the right? You allow your head to roll to the right in the direction. Allow your head to roll, the face to turn to the right a bit. As a result of the pushing foot, as a result of standing on the left foot and pushing. And the ribs are going over the shoulder blade into the elbow, and the head can roll to the right. It's not that you roll to the right. The elbows, you go easy. Not everybody's elbows rest so openly on the floor, but it looks like they're getting better. Those of you that didn't start with your elbows on the floor, it looks like they're getting a lot better. So let's bring the arms slowly down for a moment, and the leg down, and take a rest, and notice if anything has changed in your shoulder blades or anywhere else. Stand up your right foot again and push it enough into the floor so that you can slip your right hand behind your lower back. Slip your right hand behind your lower back comfortably, and then bring the pelvis back down onto the floor. And then now again, push with the right foot. And what has bringing your right hand behind your back changed? Just a little bit. Now lengthen down your right leg so both legs will be long. And lift the right shoulder away from the floor many times. Slowly, comfortably, simply and easily. Bring the right shoulder away from the floor. And again, does the head turn? Does the head roll? Allow your head to roll to the left. As you lift the right shoulder, the collarbone rolls. You could roll a marble from your right shoulder to your left. And your neck, your head, can respond and roll to the left. Not large, not powerful, simply, easily, with this strange constraint of the right hand behind the back. And the elbow, the right elbow, doesn't need to lift from the floor. I can't see everybody's elbows, but notice your elbow might be lifting, but then see if you can leave it down. And is your right humerus growing longer or shorter? Does the shoulder move closer to the side of the neck, or does it move away? That's very nice, ladies. Very nice pacing, very nice movement. Slowly bring your arm out from behind you. If you need to stand your right foot in order to roll the pelvis, to pull your arm out, move slowly, because these movements might be very new for you, and we don't want to move abruptly in or out of any of the positions. And notice if your shoulder blades are fitting any differently on the floor. Or if you roll your head, is it more comfortable one direction or the other? Stand your right leg again and bring your right hand again behind your back. See if it's a little easier. Lengthen down your right leg so you're lying with your legs long. And now with your right shoulder, can you quickly move it away from the floor, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, and just leave your head still. So a little bit of a flutter, the elbow can stay on the floor. And Feldenkrais directs us to do this movement 20 times, so keep count. Doesn't have to be large, it can be light, simple, easy, and comfortable. And getting some of the rust out from the winter. And when you've done 20 light movements, then go ahead and pull your arms slowly out and take a rest. And notice how your shoulder blades are fitting on the floor. How's the width, the cross from edge to edge, from right shoulder to left, the length of your arms, the length of your legs, these 5 lines, the length of your spine. Now stand your other foot, your left foot, and bring your pelvis enough away so that you can easily slip your left hand behind your back to where it's comfortable, behind your waist. And then roll back onto your hand and lengthen down your left leg. And breathe, and breathe. And begin to mobilize your left shoulder easily. Move it away from the floor. Listen to the length of your left upper arm, the elbow. And allow this movement to roll an imaginary marble down across the cleft there in your collarbones, where it could go lodge in the middle, in the notch between the collarbones, in the middle of the throat. And allow your head to turn. Allow your head to turn towards the right shoulder a little bit. Where are you gaining leverage for this movement? What is it that pushes the right shoulder away from the floor? The elbow doesn't need to lift. As a matter of fact, you could use it. Not powerfully, just a little bit. And now do this movement 20 times, quickly, comfortably. Small, tiny movements. Leave the head uninvolved. So it's just a fluttering of your shoulders. Like this would be belly dancing 101, learning how to shoulder shimmy with the left shoulder. See the spangles on your bra shaking. Oh, unless you're not wearing one. Okay, bring your arm out from behind you and take a rest. Bring it out slowly and note any difference that might be occurring in your back, in your neck, in your shoulder blades. Okay, return to bringing your right hand beneath the body, behind your waist. And this time have your left leg standing. Have your left leg standing. Your right arm is behind your back, hand. See if this is more comfortable now. And now push with the left foot and roll the body to the right. Roll the whole body to the right, the head, roll the body, let the head face turn towards your right shoulder. Not powerfully, not a lot. Push with the left foot, the right hand is behind your back. You're rolling and helping the right shoulder blade flatten out on the floor. The head rolls to the right. The weight of the body travels over the right shoulder blade. Is your right humerus bone lengthening or shortening or doing nothing? What would make this more doable? And now we go in opposition. Of course we do. We bring the right shoulder away from the floor as we turn the face and body to the right. So this is a counter movement. So go easily. You're turning the spine to the right, turning the head to the right, and you're turning yourself into your right shoulder, which is raising away from the floor as a result of pushing through what? The right shoulder comes away from the floor as the body rolls to the left and the face turns in the direction of the right shoulder. Like your chin is searching for your shoulder. Each time make it more comfortable, more doable. Which does not mean larger. Although it might get larger, the more doable you make it. Slowly undo this and take a rest. Slip your left hand behind your waist, however you do that, and bring your right foot to standing. And roll the body to the left. Roll the body, the chest, roll over the left shoulder blade. Roll the head to the left. Let the nose turn, let the eyes turn to look in the direction of the left. Mind the right knee doesn't start going crazy and kitty wampus and leaning. Keep it. Yeah. Keep it so the pelvis turns around, so you're not welding the hip joint into one piece. Feel the weight traveling over onto the left shoulder blade, and then how are you going to bring the left shoulder away from the floor? Turn the body to the left, but bring the left shoulder forwards. Turn the face in the direction of the shoulder. Feel what's being asked of your spine. Feel this twist. Where can you soften more? Again, do you lengthen the left humerus? Do you shorten the distance between the shoulder and the neck? What would happen if you lengthened the left elbow just a tiny bit? And as a matter of fact, what if you lengthened the left elbow as you lengthen the right thigh, as you lengthen the left leg, as you lengthen the whole spine, as you lengthen the right arm, as you lengthen the width of the shoulders, as all these lines grow longer within the movement. Let's take a rest. What are the changes? What are the changes happening in your back, in your shoulder blades? Let's do a little check-in with the very first movement we did. So interlace your fingers and bring your hands on the floor about 4 inches over the head with the thumbs resting on the floor, and feel how that feels now. And stand your right foot. Stand your right foot. And now see if this is a clearer situation to push with the right foot, to stand on the right foot, roll the pelvis to the left and feel that, it can lengthen the left elbow and the face can turn in the direction of the left elbow. It doesn't have to look at it. It just looks in the direction of. Let your eyes look in the direction of the left elbow. This makes a big difference. Where you intend to look with the eyes, they can look out the window, they can look at your wall, look in the direction that the left elbow is pointing. With the eyes, you don't have to look at the elbow. And are you better able, is it clearer now, can you feel that the right foot, that you can garner, you can draw these forces from the ground and push your left elbow a little longer on the floor, which means, or if it's not resting on the floor, that's just a little longer through space. But if the left elbow is getting longer, what's the right one doing? What is the right elbow doing as the left one grows longer as you turn your eyes and face in the direction of it? Not to see it. You might see it. What if you took your eyes to see it the next time you go, without straining anything, but if you could actually see the left elbow, what changes in your back and where? And what difference does it make to look at the elbow than in the direction of the elbow? It's a very interesting question. What changes? You can stay there for a moment and take your eyes a little more left. See what happens. What happens in your back? Anything? Do the eyes make the spine do something different? Yeah, let's bring the arms down slowly and take a rest. Let's check the other side. So interlace your fingers non-habitually. Bring them overhead. Rest them there for a moment. Feel the width of the shoulders, the length of the elbows, the length of the spine and the length of the legs. And now draw your left foot to standing and feel the length of that thigh bone move away from you as you push the foot into the floor and feel the length of the spine. Oh, very nice. Nice wrinkles in the fronts of the clothing. And direct that line from the left knee across the back to the right shoulder blade and the right elbow. That bone gets pushed a little bit. There's a connection from the foot to the hip joint to the shoulder joint, and it pushes the elbow. And you can now start to play with the head, the neck, the eyes, to look in the direction of where the right elbow is pointing. Or even at the right elbow, but only if that's easy to do. And to find out what the other side, what's the left elbow doing? If the right elbow is growing longer, what does the left elbow do? And what sort of geometric shapes do your elbows make in the plane of the floor, in the plane of the ceiling? Do they tilt? What happens in the collarbones? Think of the ribs flattening out and traveling over the shoulder blade. And let's take another rest. Slowly bring your arms down. Because Moshe tells us that the changes that these movements create in the shoulders and the shoulder blades are big. And that we mustn't leave the movements abruptly or do them abruptly. With your legs long, flex and extend your ankles so that you do that nice little jostling that we do sometimes with the heels on the floor, using the heels to sort of push the skeleton along the floor, north and south. Yeah, feel how that wave jostles your bones. Does your head respond? Is it, yeah, nice sort of sifting, like sifting seeds, sifting tension all the way down into the floor, out of a screen. Good. Okay, rest a moment. Move on to phase 2. So for this next exploration, we are going to place both hands behind the back, with the right hand resting on the back of the left hand. If possible. So the right hand will be on top of the left hand, which is on the floor. And then the hands are behind the waist. And then lengthen down your legs. Lengthen down your legs and just breathe there for a moment. Feel the length of your elbows, the humerus bones. Feel the width of the shoulders, the length of the elbows, the length of the spine, and the length of the legs. And begin to roll your body to the right and to the left. Roll a little bit over the hands, let the head turn. The legs are long, so how do you do this? You probably are pushing from the heels, you might be using the abdominals, I don't know, but you're rolling back and forth in a way that makes things softer. Now don't wrench your shoulders. Just roll the pelvis, let the head turn, roll the body over the hands, flatten out the hands behind your back. Maybe you might even feel, it's interesting to feel maybe the bones of your vertebrae rolling across your hands. You might feel that. See if you can make equal movements to the right and to the left. Make the other side better. The side that's not so good, make it better, not by forcing it, just by listening to it. You can find some kind of symmetry in this movement across the back. There's a lot going on. Slowly, slowly, slowly bring your arms out from behind you and take a rest. Bring your hands again behind your back, but bring your left hand on top of the right. Your left hand on top of the right, or fingers, or whatever you can manage there. And lay down on your hands, lengthen your legs, and again begin to explore rolling the body over the hands, right and left. Roll the pelvis. Let the head turn in the direction the pelvis and belly turn. Listen to the shoulders. Listen to the humerus bones on the floor. The distance between the shoulder and the ear on each side. Breathing, sensing the spine over the hands. Let your eyes go with the head. If your eyes are closed, open them. If your eyes are open, close them. And if your eyes are open, how do you orient to your space? You orient to your space as you pay attention to yourself moving like this along the floor. And bring your hands out. Bring this to a resting place. Slowly bring your hands out. Take a rest. You can give yourself a little oscillation on the floor with your legs long. Use your heels. Oscillate yourself towards and away from the head. See if you're becoming a little bit more jelly-like. And simply pull one shoulder away from the floor and then the other shoulder. Or you can alternate slowly right and left, and let the head, let the movement of the shoulder coming away from the floor help your head roll away from it. Just a simple movement of lifting the shoulder blade away from the floor. The arms stay on the floor. The arms stay on the floor on either side of your body. You just pull one shoulder, and then you can go a little quicker, perhaps. Leave the head in the middle, and think of drumming, lightly drumming the shoulders. Bop, 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 bop. Slow motion shoulder shimmy. Bop, 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 bop. Loose plop, 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 plop. Good, and then leave it and rest. Okay, we'll try another variation. Taking good care of yourself, bring your hands behind the back again, with the right hand on the left. with one change. Can you bring the hands higher up towards the back of the chest? And maybe the answer is no. But if you can, bring the hands up higher, more underneath you, with the right hand resting on the left, and again lengthen down your legs and taking very good care of all your joints. All your joints. Roll the body to the right and to the left. And what we're doing different now is turning the head in opposition to the rolling. So the hands are up higher behind the body, maybe just a smidge, as though to point. I mean, some of you might well be pointing your fingers towards your head. That's fine, but if not, doesn't work. Doesn't matter. We're turning the body. The legs are long, and we're turning the head in opposition to the rolling. And this might be like if we were in a yoga workshop and we were working on the movement called the cow, where you have one hand behind your back and the other hand behind the head, and you're reaching the fingertips towards each other. This would be a way in to that. Very challenging. What can be a very challenging movement to bring one arm behind your back up towards your head. Again, no forcing, no powerful movements. Think of the long elbows and wide shoulders, and a great distance between the ears and the top of the shoulders, and a long spine. And stand your legs or do whatever you need to do to pull your arms out slowly, mindfully, and take a rest. It's big medicine. When you're ready, when you are ready, do the same thing with the other hand on top, which means your right hand will be on the floor behind your back, your left hand on top of the right. If possible, the hands are more underneath you and closer up to the head, which means the elbows have to go down and the forearms up on an angle. Find that and lengthen your legs so you're lying on your arms, and roll the body. The only thing that's different is that the left hand is on top of the right now, and we're turning the head in opposition of the rolling. Don't grimace with your face and don't grimace with your muscles. If you do one, you do the other. If you can smile a little bit. If you can smile, then you can lengthen. These two actions are linked in ourselves. The ability to smile and the ability to lengthen are inextricably linked. Just draw the corners of your mouth towards your ears. Start to expose the teeth. Feel what happens. in your humerus bones. Ha ha. Take a rest. Slowly, slowly take a rest. Okay, we've got a couple more steps. So the next step is to just go back to the beginning and see how that is, which is to interlace the fingers with the, your habitual way, about 4 centimeters over the top of the head on the floor. Feel how they rest there now. And then stand your right foot, stand it wide enough so that you can find a path that goes from the foot through the left elbow and pushes it further, longer, and the head can turn to the left. Allow the head to roll. Allow the eyes to look in the direction of the left shoulder. Passing the ribs, the line of force passing over the shoulder blade, which rests on the floor. The ribs push into the shoulder joint, into the elbow. So how is this compared to almost an hour ago? And then if it's comfortable, if you don't need to rest, then just go ahead and interlace your fingers with the other finger on top, the non-habitual way, and exchange your legs, the left for the right. Stand the foot far enough to the side so that you can find a good trajectory, and a lengthening thigh creates a lengthening humerus. The head can roll, the eyes can look, they can be open, they can be closed. But try each. Experiment with the eyes open, with the eyes closed, so that you don't retreat into yourself. Sometimes we retreat into ourselves when the eyes are closed. So let the eyes be part of orient yourself to your environment. And stay somatically, physically, emotionally, spiritually aware. Very nice, very nice. Take a rest. We have just one more step. Okay, so let's kind of back into this next piece. Stand your feet. Stand both legs. And lift your head in such a way that you lift your head away from the floor, but you also lift your chin as though if someone were pulling if you had a beard, someone would be pulling it, and your head would be lifting, and they would be pulling your beard away from your chest. So you're lifting the head and looking up. Somebody pulls the beard. It's an odd movement. It's an odd movement. You could you could even try taking hold of your own chin, taking the head back, and then lifting it. It's an odd. You could think of pecking, maybe thinking of pecking with the head. Okay, so that's the movement we're searching for in this next configuration. And that next configuration is, I'll describe it to you. You can rest and you can imagine it. You can try it. The next configuration is to place your hands, the right hand on top of the left, behind the back, up as high as you comfortably can underneath the back. Then you will lengthen down your legs, and then you will lift your chin away from the floor. Lift the chin and the head away from the floor, looking up. That's the movement. Maybe you just go into, very nice, Anita, very nice. Maybe you just go into the position and you think of somebody pulling your beard hairs up a little bit. This is doing a lot to the cervical spine, to the thoracic, to the shoulders. Feel. How might you use your elbows? What about the lines? Did you forget about getting longer? What about smiling? Ah, yeah. Slowly, slowly undo that. And when you have recovered and rested, the only thing left to do is to do it with the other hand on top. So, do this in your own timing, or not. If you do, you can slide your hands up there underneath your back with now your left hand. That's the only thing that's different, is the left hand is on top of the right. Maybe the arms are even further up. I don't know. Lengthen. When you start to feel danger, lengthen. Widen. Slow down. Do less. Lengthen the legs, and somebody grabs hold of your beard and pulls your head away from the floor while lifting the beard. Can you breathe? Can you smile? Maybe just think about it. So don't lift the head if the chin goes down. If the chin is going down towards your chest, don't lift the head. Just take the chin away. Just look up towards your dresser. There you go. And slowly, slowly, slowly undo this. And we are DONE done. Feel how your shoulders rest on the floor, your back, how your head might roll. Getting a thumbs up from Anita. Are you flatter? In some places, what happened with your shoulders? Your breath, your self-image. Might even feel elated with such an open chest. But we'll see. So we'll call it a lesson. We'll call it a lesson.